Boo! Hello, Facebook fans. It is time for another edition of Tune Up Tuesday. A little Halloween spirit. I thought I'd talk about some stuff on your car that may seem a little scary, but maybe it's not as bad as you think. So here we've got an 05 Ford Escape, and I kind of wanted to show a few things on the dash. If you'll come on around here, we'll take a look at this. So really what I wanted to do, let's take these out for a second, is I want to talk about the dash lights first. It's good to familiarize yourself with dash lights on the car, check engine light, the oil can light, and the battery light. You know, those are typically two different colors. The more severe ones are things that it's got to be tended to right away. Those are typically red, and some other lights are yellow, and those are showing you there may be an issue, but maybe it's not something that has to be dealt with immediately. More specifically, like if a battery, like let's turn this thing on and it'll kind of show you, if we just turn the key on, you'll see several lights that light up, but it's got a red oil can light, it's got a red battery light. Obviously those are showing you oil pressure problem or a voltage problem. Those are something that, you know, honestly, an oil pressure problem, you really need to pull over, get off the road, get safe, and shut the car down, or you could create more damage. Voltage light, when you see a voltage light on, you've got trouble coming quickly. It may not quit right then, but it is, as soon as the battery is depleted from voltage, it tells you the charging system's not working properly. So you need to get it off the road and to a repair center as quickly as you can, or at least get safely off the road. But let's talk about the check engine light. Check engine light may be one of those scary things that seems like, oh my gosh, I've got a problem with the car, but there's really only two things that'll turn a check engine light on. Number one is a problem with the fuel management system. It either senses engine misfire or too rich or too lean. So something going on with the fuel. You know, that's all computer controlled nowadays, even on, you know, 2000 model cars or so. 15-year-old cars, those are all computer controlled, and it's seeing something in the fuel management problem. And you typically then, if it's a problem that's going to create damage or leave you stranded, you're going to know the car is going to be running rough, it's going to be missing, it's going to be carrying on. So you know, you'll kind of know if that's something you need to tend to right away. The second thing is an emissions code. So anything emissions related will also set a check engine light. That could be as little as the catalytic converters are just not operating at optimal capacity, and you know, if it goes outside the range that it sees, you know, on an emissions reading, then it'll set that code. And that check engine light, a lot depending on what set it off, that check engine light will typically stay on until it's checked or cleared, or car doesn't see that problem anymore. So again, the check engine light is something that really needs to be looked into. We offer a drive up. We've got scan tools. We can go out there. We can't really tell what the problem is, but we can go plug into it and quickly scan it and tell you what the system is, and then quickly advise you, hey, we can get that scheduled in next week, or we really need to look into that right now. So that's on our check engine lights. What's some other things that would seem scary, but you know, maybe not such a big deal? Another thing probably is coming out to a car, turning it over, and you know, it cranks slow, or it's just a click, click, click. You know, that's low battery voltage. Typically, a couple reasons are something was left on in the car, or the battery's just getting weak. Again, not a huge deal. You typically get it jump started if you have another car, or you know, the best thing to do is to put a battery charger on it and slowly charge the battery back up to its original voltage. But if you don't have one available, then you can jump start it using another car. I'd like to give you some tips on jump starting it. It is very, very important that you have the car that's dead, you have the key off. You don't want that electrical system live with the battery when you connect. So what you want to do is you have a running car, and you connect your battery cables to the running car first, and then you connect to the car that's dead, positive first, negative after that, And then sometimes you have to let it set and charge for a minute, but then you try to start the car. Again, you know, if you look around and notice, oh, I left the headlights on, that's why the battery's down. That's pretty self-explanatory. But I would have the battery checked. If you didn't leave anything on, I have the battery checked and see if it's pass a load test. Also, you look for that red light. That'll tell you if your alternator's charging at optimal capacity. So that's another thing. And then lastly, we'll probably cover a blowout or a flat tire on the road. Most of the time, tires just don't blow out. What usually ends up happening is a tire will go slowly down. It'll get low, and then you'll drive it around and damage the sidewall, and then that's what creates the blowout. Most modern cars today have a TPMS sensor, and if I walked around the parking lot, I probably would find 30% of the cars have their TPMS lights on. But that TPMS is tire pressure monitoring system, and what it's telling you is that the car sees a low tire, and it's warning you of that low tire. It not always means that a tire is low. There's those sensors have batteries in them, and the battery goes dead. That'll set a TPMS. If it's not reading it, it'll set a light. So there's a whole host of reasons why a TPMS light is on. But if you have a TPMS light on, please do a walk around. Just make sure that a tire's not visually low. Get it checked with a tire pressure gauge, or again, swing on by here. And I just thought I'd go over some tips this week. Again, some things that seem scary on a car, but in the midst of Halloween coming up next week, thought I'd cover those. Come by and see us, and we'll make sure everything's going right in your car. Next week's going to be a great Tune-Up Tuesday. Please don't miss it. There's another edition of Tune-Up Tuesday. Yay!